Poke's gonna come out. Some big positive stuff for the side of the Numbies, effectively on a wasted amplification matrix thus far from Poke, and that might have been their game-winning ult before you hack the Pharah. Otherwise, you can't really get any good progress out of the point. Centurion is just going to be left completely uncontested because EJ typically can't be the one to fly up there. Elko can't be the one to dash up there. The team of the Numbies is just able to surround point with Sidon, who's just such a specialist on any DPS role you put him on, but it's definitely still anybody's game. And Dire with the super punch onto Elko off the map. Oh my gosh, Dire, what are you doing? And everybody's in the room. He's able to charge this punch up, find another, find a third. Okay, Dire, you're going crazy right now.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Week 8 match of the Rittwo Raccoons versus the Berlin Brawlers. I believe I got those names right. That's awesome. This is a very, very impactful match with the winner of this game confirmed, the number 3 seed in their division going into playoffs, and the loser kicked out of the racing. So very big stakes here, as I'm joined by my co-caster Paninii here on the Colorcast. I'm FlamboJambo, of course. And Paninii, what are you expecting this series? What do you want to see? I'm hoping to see a match 5 banger.
So
as both teams have things to lose here.
I'm honestly a little bit disappointed. Both teams have very good players on both of their teams that are out right now. So they have ringers for Elko and a ringer for Poi. So I would have really liked to see these teams at full strength. But that being said, there are still a lot of really talented players. Brawlers, we kind of know what they're going to run. Well, I guess both teams, we kind of know what they're going to run. They both run kind of this variation of Brawl. It's a Ryan versus Junker Queen. I mean, on paper, I think I like the Ryan a little bit more. Junker Queen, I think, struggles into those big, heavy, brawly tanks, like Ryan, for example. I think Ramantra is also a pretty good matchup for the Junker Queen. But there's also a lot of like really talented players on the Raccoons, so I think they could make up for kind of that comp diff, just having like Danny Mac on that Junker Queen, Tanic B, of course, known for that May, and then their support line, like pretty solid. You got Wiggle Higgle, you got Roar, a lot of good players on that team. But like on the other side too, the Brawlers like a lot of their players have been stepping up. EJ and Poke are both like off-rolling this season, but have been playing pretty well. And then Nuttier, that GM Lucio player we all know and love. Sonic Ronic, been in the league forever, season 1 champ. So a lot of really good players, a lot of really fun comps I'm expecting. So I think this should be a really good game.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, both teams have similar play styles, are playing for similar bits, you know, practice these matchups quite often. So I'm really excited, you know. I think the key thing this game is being able to know actually when to stop your aggression, right?
Yeah.
Both these teams highly aggressive, play for picks, play to walk over the other team. It's really going to be down, you know, a lot of times you can get that opening pick, but if you overextend, over aggro, right? I think both these teams are going to be able to punish that really easily and maybe turn fights around. So I'm looking to see what team is able to up tempo and de-tempo just as fast. And a lot of that really comes down to, again, your Lucios, your tanks, and just awareness of everyone in general, right, on the team, where they're playing, how who their targets are, things like that. So this is definitely one to watch here. Final week of the regular season. You know, Preds do have Brawlers very high up. I believe it was 7-1 in favor of the Brawlers winning this series. But, you know, it's not always necessarily just the Preds or anything. There's been plenty of busts this season so far. And it's been
like crazy this season. There's been so many. Both teams like kind of started off this season like really hot. I think both teams won their first 4 games. I know the Brawlers, I think, or the Raccoons, I think, have lost their last 3 actually going into this game today. Brawlers lost 2, so it looked like they were going to slow down too. But then I think last week or maybe the week before that, they beat the Zeniths, which is that was a massive win for them. They kind of showed that they could hang with the big boys. So I think that's part of the reason a lot of people are a little bit higher on the Brawlers is because they were able to kind of go take one out over the Zeniths.
Both teams, though, by the way, coming off of a 3-1 loss in division matchups. Brawlers losing 3-1 to the Gatos, and Raccoons losing 3-1 to the Numbies. So both of them kind of looking for recovery here. Like I said, the winner of this will get the 3rd seed and will play either the Foxes or the Dongers in playoffs.
I know the last match I just casted, I said the Dongers would clinch 2nd seed. I checked. There's a one map difference, so there's one scenario where the Foxes jump up to that 2nd seed, but there's a chance. But yeah, I believe the loser of this will play the Chinchillas in that bowl game, so I didn't even really think about the bowl games this season, but they are still there, so those were very fun last season, so...
Oh, you're right. Loser of this does play Chinchillas. I thought it was both bottom seeds would play each other, but it is not that way.
It's crossed. So yeah, we see it.
So it is exactly as we were saying, by the way. Reinhardt versus Junker Queen, both on these brawl looks. Opting for the Kiriko by Simply Dino versus the Baptiste by Poke. Again, both of these are just preferences by these players. Again, Kiriko looking to be playing a lot more aggressive here, doing a little bit of damage as well. Nathan with early poke on the Soldier, but met by the Reinhardt. Immediate point pressure for the Brawlers. Already set up. Poke going in on a nice wall. Danny Mac needs to be careful. Way too deep currently. Getting collapsed on by his by the Brawlers. Wiggle Higgle is there to bail him out, but Simply Dino now taking the pressure instead. The lamp is forced by Poke to keep EJ alive. Maybe stayed a little bit too long as now Tanikby in the backline, but EJ finds Danny Mac first, and the Brawlers are still very healthy as EJ finds 2 now with the pick on Nathan. And now the Brawlers will have this first point control after a very nice engage in the wall.
Yeah, really awkward there. Danny Mac just kind of got out, and then this comp the Raccoons are running is just so reliant on playing together, playing like around these shouts and these speed boosts. So losing the Junker Queen like kind of out of the fight early is really rough. Really good for the Brawlers to be able to kind of capitalize that, get a big wall there. Looking at the ult banks right now, Raccoons are really far behind. Poke's already almost at this lamp. Right now, it might actually build it.
Ooh, EJ in trouble, has to both use the wall and the pin out to disengage. But again, this is a very tough fight for them. As they walk in, they just walk in anyway. Window is used. Wiggle Higgle is first to fall here. Nice rail by Sonic Chronic. And now it just ends all of the aggression, as Danny Mac will also fall off of Sonic Chronic. And I think, again, they just tried to play a little bit too fast there. And, you know, playing into that window by Poke, built up so early, so fast. And the Raccoons is just immediately blown up and sent back to their spawn room.
Yeah, Raccoons might be able to touch here. They might honestly just opt to give this point here. Already down in ults, like 90% here. Yeah, looks like they are just going to give it here. But JD Mac shouts. I don't think he'll be able to touch
Mac
here.
Goes on.
Yeah,
is walled though by Fancy, and now this can be disastrous if these picks come through in favor of the Brawlers, as Wiggle Higgle does fall from the rail from Sonic Chronic. Now Danny Mac needs to be careful. Is being chased. Suzu is used by Simply Dino to get them out, but the Brawlers are collapsing. They're looking for these picks here. But Danny Mac punishes Nuttier. That's exactly what I was talking about in this early lobby. Is now Nuttier forced to have this bad respawn, as now again this counter aggression from the Raccoons could lead into a win here, as Blizzard and Tyre are both committed. The Tyre actually broken that Blizzard by Fancy, as Nuttier's now back, finds Danny Mac, overextended. Brawlers are still now in this fight. All 5 are here. It's a 5 vs 4. Simply Dino so low. Tanikby finds Poke, but Simply Dino and Tanikby both fall. And now again the Raccoons somehow winning out that fight, and will be able to head on to this point and start it uncontested.
Yeah, really good that they committed there. I think it was a definitely a losable fight for both teams. Fancy to opt to throw in the Blizzard to kind of secure that fight. Not only wins the fight, gets his team some ult charge, but also gets this early prio on the point. The Raccoons are starting to build these ults here. They did use that Tyre last fight, but they are going to have a pretty hefty time bank. But also the Brawlers are going to have pretty good ult bank of their own to answer here.
Danny Mac needs to be careful. His team is kind of getting walked on. He can get punished so hard here. Kind of alone on this high ground. Has to use Shout already. No one else on his team really able to benefit as it. Visors popped by Nathan, but the Shatter comes down as well as the beat from Nuttier. Overclocked by Sonic Chronic as well. Hoping to clear up the slides. Nuttier finds Danny Mac first in this fight. Wiggle Higgle also falls by Danny Mac. The fight's still going on. Nathan will fall, and this is just a complete forward momentum. Continuing forward for the Raccoons.
Yeah, the brawl comps are very also like heavily based on momentum. You get these really nice ults coming out here. You can play really aggressively, and then you can just kind of keep the tempo up. Pretty expensive fight there for the Brawlers, but the way they're playing right now, I honestly don't hate it. Shatter, like, yeah, window used early there.
Windows using. Oh, and the wall! The wall by Fancy is so good. Completely disables Danny Mac, and Simply Dino uses the gate, but it's quickly pinned out by EJ, and the point will flip. And now Wiggle Higgle needs to try to get out. Same with Danny Mac, as the point does go in favor for the Raccoons, and the next flashpoint will be started.
Yeah, again, pretty aggressive with these ults here from the Brawlers. Like, with these Brawl pumps, like, a lot of times using the ults early just kind of get the tempo up is really good. They are going into this with really, other than maybe the Blizzard here, not a lot in the bank here. But going up 2-0 in Flashpoint's really strong here. So even if they lose this next 2 points, still super winnable. Even without
needs
the
to be a little
ults,
bit careful. Nathan as well. Oh, dinks down by Fancy. The tire comes out by Tank B. Can't find anything. No, it's broken. Again, another tire now used. The Maywall is massive. It catches out Danny Mac. As Simply Dino falls in the back line. Danny Mac trying to find any picks here, but in so much trouble. Will find Poke as the beat comes through by Wiggle Higgle to keep his team alive, but the Blizzard from Fancy will freeze him up, finding Danny Mac, and the point will flip in favor of the Raccoons. It's just Danny Mac, and the point will quickly fall. Now Wiggle Higgle going onto the point, has to just wipe, trying to get out with his life, and the Raccoons are just looking so dominant on Surabasa.
Yeah, they did use the tire there. I think that was the second tire that got destroyed, which is really rough. Also, both support ults used by the Raccoons, so I'd love to have those back, but you kind of have to start investing these ults here if you're already down 2-0, trying to win these fights. But so far, been super decisive for the Brawlers. They're playing really coordinated. They're playing really aggressively here, so really good for them. Tank finds Nadia really early there with the spam.
Yeah, big pick by Tannic B here. This could be the pick that the Raccoons need, but Wiggle Higgle also dying here. So bad you don't have the beat now in this fight. Not that he was like that close right now, but the Suzu is forced as well by Simply Dino, and Tannic B now in trouble on that flank. No one's able to help Tannic B because Danny Mac is just taking so much presence on point. Needs everything from Simply Dino. Tannic B is just completely out of this fight this entire time, just so zoned out.
No.
Queen ults. Okay, Tannic B does find Sonic Chronic. The tire is used by Tannic B. Will find Nuttier, does get one here as we are ticking it down in overtime. EJ with a pin in, won't find anything. Looking for Nathan. Nathan will actually get that pick on EJ, so the Raccoons do end up winning that one, despite Danny Mac, I think, getting the Swiffer Wet Jet whiff of the week on that one.
I think that was his second whiff on the Queen ult this point, or this map.
The first one I'll excuse
not his fault.
Because it was a Maywall, but that one was a little tough.
Yeah, going in here, I think a lot of really good ults here for the Brawlers here. Really, the Visor and maybe the Rush here for the Raccoons, but a lot of Blizzard, Shatter, and the Overclock here for the Brawlers.
Brawlers looking to take out this high ground, pressing Nathan back as well as Tannic B, but Tannic B gets a lot of good spam here. Could maybe find a pick off of that poke and forced to use that heal already. Fancy falling low as well. Visor to pipe, but Tannic B's out of the fight. Lamp is used by Poke, but Danny and Tannic both dead in this fight. Wiggle Higgle's alone in the background as the Shatter comes down. Finds two. It's massive. Overclock is popped to force the win on the fight as well as the Blizzards. Wiggle Higgle's pinned. And ladies and gentlemen, the Berlin Brawlers will take this first map in the series.
Decisive.
Dominant fashion.
Yeah. I think really only one fight win for the Raccoons, so I'm pumped if I'm the Brawlers after that.
Yeah, you're feeling really good, right? Both teams came out and what they want to play, and unfortunately for the Raccoons, and well, Danny Mac, of course, getting that play a game at least, but unfortunately for the Raccoons, the Brawlers just won in that matchup. So let's see what they change up in the upcoming maps here, if they decide to change up anything, if maybe they think this was just a fluke. But we will be going to a hybrid map. Everybody don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick map. All right, everybody, welcome back to map 2 here between the Raccoons and the Brawlers. We are headed to Numbani, implying perhaps more of a dive look. I know most maps this week are dive favored regardless, but Numbani definitely one of the biggest ones. So interested to see how both these teams change what they play here, but I haven't really seen either team playing much of a dive this season, as we do see the EJ still they're opting for the sim TP onto that first initial high ground and then just walk on the back line. I kind of like that from the Brawlers, honestly. I think people forget that is a possibility, and it frequently does very well, especially in Aurora. But Danny on the Winston, I don't think I've seen him play Winston at all this season.
There you go. Yeah, I think I've seen him play almost exclusively Junker Queen outside of like the couple maps he played Mauga. The Brawlers, I have seen them play like they hybrid. I think they usually will end up going Winston comps. I think this also makes sense, like especially like because you know the Ana's gonna be playing that back left high ground sim TP to kind of punish that makes sense. But all the other players like Wiggle Higgle was like most comfortable on the Ana. Tanic B does have a really good echo.
Brawlers actually in fact going under, so they're gonna try to teleport again on that back high ground from the under sweep.
The back side actually. Yeah, they're going the back, trying to wrap around, take the stairs up.
Yeah, so they're just trying to take full control on this high ground, forces the rotations here.
They're just flipping the map.
Of the Raccoons here, as now Nathan and Fancy is now set up, but a big anti by Wiggle Higgle. Oh my goodness, it's massive. They find Poke and Allegro on the back of that, forces the lamp. EJ and Fancy both so low, Nuttier as well, forces them to run away. Nathan does pay for it with his life, but Wiggle Higgle, that's a hero play.
Yeah, that's the season 2 grand finals MVP Wiggle Higgle.
Roar as well, cleaning up, finds Fancy on the back end. That's a pretty decent stagger here.
Yeah, I liked that rotation they were going for. But like the problem with the sim TP is you guys get really grouped up, and then you kind of set this Ana up. Like the Ana can kind of see where the TP is going, and then just hit E, and everyone on your team gets set up for a massive dive. I was a little bit confused by the one down and under instead of just up directly on top with the TP. But Dynamite does come through, won't quite catch on to anybody. Oh, it does catch on EJ, excuse me. As now the TP goes up directly on top of Wiggle Higgle, another massive purple, and Wiggle lives with a big sleep. Allegro and Nuttier instantly die. They need to stop going for Wiggle because he is hitting his shots today. Wiggle is just no-Uing the Brawlers.
In fact, does have Nano built up as well as Nathan having this Bob. No ultimates yet for this side of the Brawlers. Poke is the closest with that window as we see Allegro swapping over to the Ashton match. But again, you're walking into a Bob, you're walking into Duplicate, walking into Nano.
This is rough. Already 2 minutes gone, but you see Numbani first get held a ton. So this momentum the Raccoons have right now could be really big here. They're going for a much more classic Brawl look. They are not running the Mei here, actually. They're running double hit scan. Probably to shut down Tanic B here. They just push high ground.
Does force Danny Mac to drop as Nathan falls very low, but the Nano comes through. Another massive anti by Wiggle Higgle. Roar cleans up, finds Fancy, finds the lamp as Poke will fall, EJ will fall. No, it's just Nuttier and Allegro. Allegro falls, and no. Nuttier, don't let them know you're there. Be very, very quiet. Oh, the duplicate!
He has the Freddy Fazbear jump scare. Really ults used there by the Raccoons is really good. There are a lot of swaps coming in, so it's still gonna be like 3 ults on each side, even with the Nano and the
Poke importantly has the window and Fancy has the visor, right? Your targets are you need to kill Fancy here, especially now that the visor is popped. There goes the window, and another! They had to swap to the Kiriko there to get those cleanse off of another massive one of Wiggle Higgle, but Danny Mac is just bursted. The Bob goes through, is able to now hold this space with Danny Mac dead. So, again, still either team's fight here as EJ and Fancy. Once again, Purple has to back off as Danny Mac on their way back could potentially be here in this fight. Another sleep on EJ too. The gate comes through by Nuttier as the anti is Suzu'd. But Nutty are in trouble. Fancy will fall. Nathan will fall. Both teams now down to DPS. Poke has to use the lamp very early, but Danny Mac is back on the back line looking for blood. Will he find anything? No. Roar is the first to fall. Poke whipping out the Glock on the Baptiste looking for more. Allegro in trouble by Danny Mac will fall, but Poke finds 2 in this fight. Taking down Tanikby is just Wiggle Higgle and Danny Mac on this fight, but Wiggle Higgle is so low. Has the nano if they want to commit it. As Danny Mac goes in deeper, Wiggle Higgle needs help. They use the nano, they're trying to find EJ, but Fancy will fall off of that nano. EJ, it's the EJ in supports versus Danny Mac in supports. Suzu's forced out of Roar. EJ with a nice dive, has to teleport away as well. Tanikby finds the lamp off of Poke as we go into overtime. EJ finds Roar though. There's no support for the side of the Raccoons. This fight's still going on. EJ's just living. Tanikby finally finds Poke. The Bob comes through as well as the duplicate. Tanikby trying to get value on this Reinhardt duplicate, but will just quickly get burned out by this Bob and as well die. And this point is not just being completely contested by the Brawlers. They should be able to get it here after a really nice recontest.
Yeah, that was a really long fight there. I think it was almost 2 minutes straight of fighting. Brawlers had finally identified their win condition as kill Wiggle Higgle once. I think the entire time Wiggle was alive, it looked really decisive for the Raccoons. Once Wiggle ends up getting taken down there, really messy. Brawlers do come out on top there. Do see a lot of swaps coming
Roar
out too.
swap over to Lucio, which maybe again just to help with the peel against EJ, but not sure if maybe that was just a last second swap decision to try to get a touch. But Danny Mac has the primal, needs to be a little bit careful though. Team can't really back up. A big purple forces the Suzu out of Nuttier, and Fancy as well has no dash. Dynamite won't quite connect on anything here from Allegro, but a big dive comes out, but a pin in response onto Danny Mac. Danny Mac forced to pop that primal to stay alive inside this gate. Tanikby finds, looking for the Baptiste, but Tanikby will in fact be the first one to fall. A big anti finds Fancy and Allegro, but they're still healthy. Has the Suzu to stay alive as Danny Mac forced to jump out as Roar will get cleaned up by Poke in the back end. And that's disastrous for the Brawlers. Now they have to give so much space here for, disastrous for the Raccoons, as the Brawlers will just take up the space.
Yeah, I mean, second point is a lot about high ground control. The Raccoons got a little bit greedy, went a little too deep, and got punished for it. They did have a really good setup by their by Nathan and Anna, but Nathan and Wiggle Higgle, but ultimately end up falling down after being a little bit too aggressive there. A lot of ults coming out, especially this Blade from Fancy. I see this being really big, especially now that Roar doesn't have this beat yet. Bob and Nano
Window
coming out
does
for
come
the
out
Raccoons.
as well as Bob for the contest. EJ might be in a little bit of trouble, getting pressured down very hard. Has a shatter, lays it, finds Danny Mac. Wiggle Higgle is found by the Blade. Allegro falling very low by the Bob on point. But again, the ult's committed by the Brawlers. Just a little bit too much for the Raccoons to deal with here. And they will cap second here. But again, 2 minutes to cap third on Numbani. That's really difficult for any team in this league. So we'll see if the Brawlers are able to keep this forward momentum.
Numbani's kind of like a sandwich. It's like you always hold first point for a really long time. You always hold third point for a really long time. A lot of teams will just breeze through that second point, especially that first fight. If you lose high ground control, it just can kind of snowball really quickly. We actually see EJ swapping over to Winston here. This third point is a little bit more
also
favored
looking
to
for the dive, maybe looking for Nathan and Wiggle Higgle again.
Oh, yeah.
In this back line. But again, both of them doing so much for each of their teams. As Poke as well now on the Ana. Probably playing for Nano Blade as their main win condition would be my guess here. As now, big dive by EJ. Does get dynamited, so needs to be a little bit careful, but ults are in favor right now for the Raccoons if they want to play this aggressively. A big anti-nade finds Poke and Allegro. Roar does pay for it with his life, but Nuttier and EJ will also die. It's just Fancy left, and will get killed fairly quickly there. But again, I think both teams now playing last minute, playing for this Nano Blade as their win condition.
Wiggle Higgle, more like Purple Herple.
Don't try too hard.
Yeah, unlucky. I got rolled there, guys. Nano Blade coming out for the Raccoons here. No really defensive support ult here coming out, so they might honestly not even opt to nano the Genji Blade. Yeah, the
Blade does come through. It isn't nanoed. The Bob in response, the beat is used by Roar, keep everyone alive, but Tanikby is just blown up so fast. Now Ash is dead and Tanikby is dead. Nutty are using that gate, trying to make this space, but the dive here from Fancy is in the backline. They're so close to this Nano Blade of their own. Danny Mac has the primal if needed. They also have the nano. The Raccoons need to do something here before Fancy gets this ult. They're in the backline. Danny Mac gets the nano, but he's not able to jump on anyone. They already used it. He's looking for more. Paninii and Aurora are already in. They killed everyone, and Danny Mac is just alone right now. As Fancy cleans up the entire backline, they force it to overtime, but it's just Danny Mac left on this point, and I think the Brawlers might do a full cap here after being held for so long.
Well, it's still got a while to go here. Nathan has this ball.
Nope.
Oh, they don't touch. Yeah, I was gonna say they had the bomb.
They also
so
do get zoned out by EJ there, jumping in, as well as a big purple.
honestly,
By Pope.
the Brawlers have to be super happy with that. After
Yeah.
almost getting full health, full capping, like not even getting it to third, like getting it like full capping on third is really good.
I mean, legitimately, I think the difference was just Nuttier swapping to Kiriko and having those Suzus for the purples.
Yeah.
Right. I think the Raccoons started to get a little too greedy there, and you know, didn't really recognize that the fights were still losable. Right. So, really well done by the Brawlers, sticking with it, staying in, making those adjustments.
I think part of it
we
too,
still need to see an attack.
That's
For
true.
the Raccoons.
Yeah, we got a full attack to go, so it's not over yet for either team. So another thing I do want to I do think could make a big difference. I think the break swap is really good. Part of what I think was going wrong with the Raccoons is that Danny Mac was going in, and then like Paninii was going in with him. They didn't have a lot to peel for this Ana, so they'd have Danny Mac go in, try to dive the backline. Backline was sustaining themselves pretty well, so if the Raccoons aren't able to get those kills really quickly, then EJ will just jump into the backline with Fancy and end up killing Wiggle Higgle because there's not enough peel there. So I think the Brig swap here is really good. That kind of deals with that problem. Much more classic look running the Brigana from both sides. So yeah, we'll see. I think this is the Brig is going to help out the Raccoons a lot here. So
Yeah, we see both teams opting to not really do any silly shenanigans here. Both kind of playing a traditional comp here on Numbani. As Danny Mac is up there pretty early. A nice dynamite does connect on Fancy. Fancy forced to use deflect very early. Oh, and a dive by EJ. That's so disastrous. If they punish EJ here, the Brawlers will probably lose. But no, he's able to get back up safely. Again, missing that dive was...
low.
Oh, but Poke falls. Nice boogers by Paninii, and now Allegro falling very low. Will also fall. Paninii finding two. EJ jumping in the backline, trying to find anything but Nathan cleaning up, and Danny Mac holding his pressure on the front line. And still contestable, but so far a very swift 0.1 capture for the Raccoons.
Allegro,
as Nathan, that stagger is disastrous for Fancy. I think he gets bad spawn off of that, in fact.
Yeah, he is on Genji though, so we'll get back pretty quickly. But now they're looking for Allegro. They might get Allegro here too. No, he doesn't.
No, Danny Mac needs to be careful. The entire team is there. Yeah, they back off. They recognize that there's a lot more help for EJ than him.
Yeah, the soldier swap I think is also really good. They also swap onto the Cassidy. They identify Paninii as a big problem too. Other than just the Winston diving in, the Echo has been putting a lot of pressure, especially with this.
Ooh, big purple. This time onto Roar, as Nathan will fall first off of that. But again, this card's still moving, not really able to get too much off of it if you're the Brawlers. Danny Mac still fighting up there. As trying to build up this nano for Wiggle. Oh, gets punished.
And I think
the sleep does land on Allegro.
Raccoons are still trying to fight this, but now they do just back off into the spawn, waiting for their tank to come back.
Paninii does have duplicate here. I'd like to see an Ana duplicate, honestly.
No, double Winston. I love double Winston. Jumping in together just gets so much cleave.
Okay, they do look for double Winston, but Danny Mac's already killed the backline. Now looking for Cassie, looking for Fancy, as the Nano as well onto Danny Mac. Maybe a little bit of overcommitment, but the Nano and Primal onto EJ.
Might stagger Allegro here too.
Might stagger a little bit. Danny Mac is still up there, looking for Allegro. They do get him. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of an overcommitment from both teams, honestly. But again, you're close to rally on both teams. You're close to DPS ults on the Raccoons, and you still have Primal if you're Danny Mac. So, Danny Mac should play to just try to stuff these hit scans as much as they can. Allow Paninii to just raise terror in the air, and Nathan to throw a bob at point if they need that contest. But rally is used by Nuttier just to force out, walk out of this point. Danny Mac opting to go for the brig, but just gets blown up off of an anti. As Bob is used by Nathan will find EJ, so
Monkeys
that
are
is a
traded.
big pick, as Paninii does fall to Fancy, though. Rally is used by Roar, thinks it's winnable. They're looking for Nuttier. Nuttier
I
very
think it
low.
is.
Gets the whip shot. It's just now Allegro contesting the point. And wow, that's really well done by the Raccoons to secure that second point. Roar gets his and more.
Rory with the 3K. I believe his #1 hero is Brig, so getting to play like one of his better comfort picks, a really good comp to play it with too. Going into the third point with 4 minutes, like we thought going into third point with 2 minutes was good, but going into with 4 is about as good as it could get.
Yeah, they do. EJ does swap over onto the Reinhardt here, so they now are back onto a composition they like better. Allegro does have the visor if they need, as well as Nuttier swapping over onto the Zenyatta, opting to try to blow up Danny Mac as much as possible, as another anti onto Fancy and Allegro forces them out of the fight for a little bit, but they are quickly healed up.
Rory also swaps over to Baptiste. I'm assuming that's going to signal a full comp swap coming out from the Raccoons. It might go to a more brawly style here. Third point especially, it's a lot more flat, so that makes a lot of sense. A lot of poke taken by Danny Mac, but they just kind of stabilize here. Should build the nano pretty early here.
I'm looking at Allegro right now. It's kind of up to him. As the dive does come out onto Nuttier, as well as the duplicate, quickly blown up by Paninii. The visors popped, but they find EJ. The lamp comes through, keeps Paninii alive for a little bit longer, but Allegro will fall to Nathan, and Roar will fall as well. Danny Mac dies in the backline after a primal, but Nathan finds Fancy. This is still very winnable for the Raccoons if they get these big picks. They're looking to try to find Poke here, but Nuttier actually falls. If Poke dies here, that's disastrous, but no, he finds Paninii. So now I think the Raccoons need to back up. They don't really have any way now in this fight. Nice anti. We'll keep their team alive here, but Paninii swapping over onto the Sojourn off of the Echo. Fancy has a Deadeye as well as Poke has a Window. EJ very close to a Shatter after just swapping a little bit ago. Danny Mac opting to stay on the Winston despite our guesses, but Window is used by Poke here, and they find Tanic off of that. EJ going so deep will separate the Raccoons here. If the Raccoons die, that's so bad. You can't die here. This fight's gone too long.
They're kind of split here. EJ, I think, is trying to look for it.
Allegro very aggressive, pays for it with his life, walks into him.
Oh,
what a block! Danny blocks the Shatter, but Roar is dead. Bob comes through, it's looking for blood. As Nathan now walking forward, Danny Mac able to walk as well, gets the nano onto the backline, looking for Poke. The Transcendence in response by Nuttier, as the Dynamite is coming through. Danny needs to be very careful, is getting so much damage chunked into him, and sleep onto EJ. But again, Fancy has this ult, and somehow the Brawlers curb all the aggression off of that nice starter pick. It's Roar! And so Disasters now is able to walk in the back line. Danny Mac trying to find anything here. Nice purple! They get EJ, but no, the lamp's there to keep him nice and healthy.
Oh, EJ gets another one.
EJ's fire strikes are just...
Oh, he gets another one!
Oh,
holy.
My goodness.
3 in a row.
Check him, PC!
Yeah, he's hacking with the Reinhardt fire strikes. Part of what's so rough about this comp the Brawlers are running is if your BAP is alive and if your Ryan is alive, you can just stall point forever. And considering like where they're at right now, as long as they force overtime, like that's all they need. 4 minutes getting cut down to already a minute and a half is really good for them. Danny Mac does go on the Junker Queen, which last map we saw didn't really work very well. So we'll see.
Windows used very early, and they find Wiggle Higgle off of it. And now, again, I don't think it's going to be...
oh, he gets another one!
And Panic! The fire strikes aren't a buff! They're not a buff for you!
Like, he's just kind of doing this to try to get Poke, and it's just, like, final blowing every one of those. I think the last 5 kills have been fire strikes, which is insane.
I think more.
Yeah, probably. Shatter's up here.
Now, officially, after the minute mark, it is no longer win or drawable for the Raccoons. As Paninii almost dies to Fancy there, will get followed up by Allegro. The gate is used, but 45 seconds left, and the Raccoons in kind of a very tough position. They have no ults except for Overclock coming up here, facing them to Shatter, a Transcendence, and an Overclock. Need to make something happen here. And now, again, with a swap to Junker Queen as well, this Shatter should be just completely uncontested, especially now with the Kiriko out of this fight.
Oh, he whipped it.
Okay.
He whipped it.
It was contested.
They still do have this the Overclock and this Transcendence, so it's still looking pretty good for the Brawlers.
And there's only 20 seconds left, and look at the positioning by the Raccoons.
Yeah,
right
I don't know who's going to touch here. It's got to be the Lucio, I'm assuming, but not in a great position. Lucio's just got to kind of int himself on point here, but... If Wiggle Wiggle can get the beat here, it's still definitely winnable. Tanikby opens with the
Both of them
overclock.
immediately have HP off another Fire Strike, by the way. They get the tap. They're looking for poke. Transcendence does come through, keeps everyone nice and healthy. As Fancy will find Nathan in the backline. EJ just walking back. The overclock as well by Allegro finds Roar. Tanikby will fall. Tanikby does find poke before dying though, but it's just Wiggle Wiggle on the cart and gets Ajax. Not that I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
And the Brawlers taking map 2.
I've seen worse
Much
Ajaxes.
closer than the first map, but
Yeah, going into that third again, like it's so good for Brawl on that third point because there's no high grounds. You can just kind of play that corner and no one can walk in. Let's go. I love seeing support, especially main supports. I love seeing them ball out and play the games. Don't see those often. Holy.
nice whip shot. Yeah, I just don't really like that the Raccoons swap back to the comp that they lost on in that mirror. So
Yeah, I mean
a little tough for them, but again, we'll see. There's still map 3 heading to control, so it could be anybody's game here.
It's
Don't
reverse
go anywhere.
sweepable, guys. Stay
Reverse
tuned.
sweepable as we head into a map break. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between or around, welcome to Busan Map 3 of this playoff implication game. Brawlers looking very, very strong on their maps, playing to their strengths. And Raccoons now forced to play on the back foot, but it is always, always, always reverse sweepable as they send us to Busan Paninii.
Yes.
What do you want to see?
This
here?
map is just so beautiful. I want to see the Raccoons change something. They looked really good with the head wiggle on that Ana. They were running that dive. I'm surprised they're not sticking with it.
They are opting to play what they played on map 1.
Yeah, which did not go very well for them. So I guess if you
I'm stuck out of the bounds of the map, by the way.
it started me there, so like press F1 and it should put you on someone.
I do not have F keys on my keyboard.
Very unlucky.
Hang on.
I mean
good.
the good thing for the Raccoons is that Fancy is not playing the Mei, so I mean that's good, because the Mei was getting a lot of value, especially early on Saravasa. No Lucio either, so they're gonna play a little bit slower, but.
Well, they are quickly established up on this high ground as Paninii forced to use that deflect and back out early. Point control is in favor right now for the Raccoons, but again, you're facing down a Hanzo and a Sojourn who have this infinite high ground for the Brawlers right now. EJ getting pressured pretty hard, has to use the lamp as Nathan and Dino fall low as well though, but Nathan is first fall off a nice pick from Fancy. And now we see the Brawlers pouncing as Nuttier will find Wiggle Higgle. EJ contesting on that point. They're looking for more. They find Tanic B. The TP and Suzu by Simply Dino into the backline. Simply Dino will fall as well as Danny Mac and the Brawlers again with a great first point capture.
Yeah, that really big pick from Fancy earlier on, I believe it was Nathan. Nathan swaps it over to the Hanzo. Poke already building this window after one fight. He always builds his windows like so quickly. And yeah, since that was so decisive, like only Danny Mac is gonna be close to this ult. Everyone else really got a long way to go in the Raccoons here. Fancy's also close to his dragons too.
Yeah, Poke has this window, as you were saying, so set up on point. EJ's there trying to counter Danny Mac here. Sonic Chronic chunking in that damage on Danny Mac. Danny Mac so low, gets killed by the rail. And now again, EJ on the pounce, looking for more, just walking forward, forces the pressure onto Wiggle Higgle. All forced to back up as the Raccoons will reconvene. Try again for a touch here.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they reset really quickly after losing the Junker Queen, but just hate to lose it that like fast without really building anything here. Because like again, like Danny Mac 83% the ult, next highest is 74. Probably not looking great here for the Raccoons. Nuttier has this Suzu for the Queen ult when he does use it, so.
Yeah, and EJ now set up on the low ground, and Nuttier has the gate as well. Both are used. EJ finds Simply Dino. These fire strikes are just landing as Paninii falling very low. Nathan will get picked by Fancy, and Danny Mac right now trying to find a pick will just fall. Fancy again, just absolutely showing up today right now as a ringer.
Yeah, and like he's got big shoes to fill with Elko, but he's been getting work done here. Only winning that. I guess they use the Kitsune Rush too, but that's still a pretty cheap fight coming out for the Brawlers. Now that it's 86%, this is going to be last fight if the Brawlers manage to win this. Shatter, Overclock, and
On the plus side,
Dragons.
you have all 5 ults if you're the Raccoons.
That's true. They could like maybe look for a beat here for the Shatter. A lot of options here for the Raccoons with all these ults.
The Dragons are used. Shatter as well. Shatter won't find anything, but the blade comes out. Paninii will find Poke. The Junker Queen ult in behind. Sonic Chronic and Poke now both out of the fight. Fancy very low as we have a disconnect. And he pausers in chat.
He disconnected.
Unlucky by EJ, but the point will go over to the Raccoon.
He got hit with the rampage and just instantly disappeared. Leaving and
relogging to respawn back. Yeah, can we get a report on that one?
Yeah, abusing the game mechanics. Yeah, I think you were.
So if you're the Raccoons, you got your point. Okay.
Yeah.
You also pulled out Shatter, Window, Gate, and Dragons. You're just facing down an Overclock. You still have Gate and Dragons of your own. Okay, you use 3 ults, you get the point. But it is 99-0.
Yeah.
So what do the Raccoons need to do here to establish a win on this map?
So So I'm gonna talk about from Brawler's perspective first. It's 99-0, right? So you can go into the next fight, not use any ults, just save them up. If you get dragons and Kitsune rush out, you're gonna have an ult advantage going into that next fight. So that's really good for them. If I'm the Raccoons, like the fact they use 3 and they're gonna be like at 0 with those is rough. I would have liked to save one of those, especially with all the Blade, the Rampage, and the Beat all being super impactful ultimates. The best thing they could do here is either win fights really early, really quickly, or just try to save at least one of their 2 ults they have right now to just try to at least get some time off to try to get some the rest of their ults built here. But
yeah, the issue for them is if they win
is...
fast using like a gate or a dragon,
then
they're gonna give first they have to use their ult, and then they're gonna be facing down 5 ults again from the side of the Brawlers before they get theirs, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a very tricky situation to be in, as EJ now already at 17% from 0 off of 1 fire strike, by the way.
Yeah, Fancy also got like 2 headshots and went from like 7% to 40 already.
The dragons are used out by Nathan, trying to get EJ off of this point, as Paninii and Simply Dino falling very low. When the overclock is popped, they find Simply Dino. Fancy very low in the backline, but is healed up completely. Sonic Chronic falling low with the overclock, but they find Wiggle, they find Nathan. Danny Mac is next to fall. It's just Paninii left alive as the point will flip. And that was a little bit brutal of the
Sonic
Berlin Brawlers
doing a side-on impression. So the Kitsune Rush doesn't even end up getting used there because Sonic Ronic popped into overclocked.
I only know Cal.
Sure, you're right, Cal. Yeah, Kalari, doing his best Kalari impression. I think got 4 with the overclock there, so really good there for Sonic to clutch out that.
And map lock. Skill issue.
I don't think I can help you out here, bud. But we do see a tracer swap from Nathan. I don't know about that. Like into the brawl, like there's only.
I just want them to change something.
I don't like
They're getting beat out on this brawl, and and this is gonna be a little bit toxic, and I apologize. You can tell it's their comfort picks, right?
Yeah.
But it's not working, and if it were like at least a little bit closer than it has been, I get it. Yeah. But they're just running these same things, and it's just bashing your head against the wall over and over.
Downtown's a really good dive map, too, so I wouldn't have been surprised by just doing a full swap to dive like you did on New Bonnie, because they look really good on that dive there.
Well, Nathan is getting some good poke here on the angles. Forces the attention, but Brawlers are now just fully set up on the point. Danny Mac only one able to contest, but a nice pull. We'll get nuttier as poke will fall as well. Paninii on that nice engage, Fancy as well. And the Raccoons immediately, showing me why I'm wrong as they take this first point. Very well done by them.
Yeah, so part of it is that I think the Junker Queen comp can play into the Rhine. The problem with the Rhine Baptiste is it just wins long fights. You get so much burst healing from that Baptiste. You have Lamp. The Rhine's Cleave just does so much damage if you're able to get on top of them. The Junker Queen needs to go in really decisive here, right? That's exactly what they do with the Genji.
The pin goes through. They find Danny Mac. Danny Mac called down. Sanity had to use the deflect. Will die as well. And now the Brawlers again pouncing onto this line as another nice pin by EJ, finding Simply Dino. It's just Wiggle Higgle here on the point, trying to stall for as much percentage as they can. Brawlers now taking the point back here on downtown.
Yeah, like I was saying, the first fight they kind of played like a dive, like the Junker Queen using the shout to engage when your DPS are set up, and then just everyone going in and focusing a target. They try to do that again, but the Brawlers adjusted. They were ready for it. EJ just hits the Junker Queen with that charge, and really good.
Wall is used by Fancy. EJ as well using that. Pulse Bomb will miss, won't connect on their targets here, but Paninii has a blade. They're looking for it. Very aggressive. They just died to May. All ults are coming through. EJ with a shatter as well as the beat by Nuttier. Keeps everyone nice and healthy as EJ finds Wiggle Higgle off the back of that. Nuttier will get out, but EJ with another nice pin will try to clean up. Danny Mac finds Nuttier at least to get the pick, but EJ just looking so good on this Reinhardt.
Yeah, when you the problem with trying to run into the Reinhardt is that he's Reinhardt, and he will just press M1 and be able to do so much damage to you and just cleave through your team. I guess the good thing is they did get the beat out with the Rampage, so now Paninii should have a pretty good blade here, but...
Well, Blizzard is used by Fancy as well as the pin connecting. The blade is used, but Nathan and Simply Dino already dead. Fancy will find the lamp, but Paninii poke! Danny Mac does find Nuttier. I think Poke has killed Paninii quite a few times this series. Poke again playing very, very well, but Raccoons again force him back up. A big stagger kill by Chronic on top of Danny Mac, and Brawlers still in control at this point as Paninii swaps over to the Echo.
Yeah, I think Paninii played really well there, trying to dive Poke. But the problem is that Poke hit a jump, so Paninii like missed a slash, I think, hit the lamp. So Paninii had to slash through the lamp and then had to shift after he got slash once. So Baptiste with his 3 health bar just yeah.
Well, Gate is used as well as Window by Poke. Overclock used by Chronic will do a lot of damage here. Break the window, but they will find Paninii going in forward. The beat by Wiggle keep everyone nice and healthy. Will hit everybody. Nathan uses Pulse Bomb, won't find anything, but they do find EJ on the back of it. Chronic will find Wiggle as the point is now taken on to the point. Danny Mac looking for the May here. Will stay alive for a little bit longer. Healed up nicely by the Bab. This Bab is currently uncontested on this high ground. Fancy looking for more. Nathan trying to find anything here. Danny Mac using the ult. Will connect on 2. Nuttier in trouble. Fancy is the first one to fall. Nuttier 1 HP. Will stay alive as Nathan will fall. Danny Mac will eventually find Chronic, but Nuttier somehow still staying alive. You look up the team. EJ is now back in this fight. Looking for more. Danny Mac will find Chronic. It's just EJ now on this point trying to stay alive. Chronic trying to find Danny B. The slam! The slam on 2! EJ looking for more. The beat by Nuttier as well keeps everyone in the fight as the blow. Danny B will find Poke, but Danny Mac with a pin off the edge by EJ. EJ's now still alive as we take out the Brawlers, winning the series 3-0, sending the Raccoons packing out of the playoff contention.
The Raccoons were still in that fight too, and they all just left the point. No way.
Oh,
unfortunate way to end your season.
That's a little bit disastrous as we do see this nice Kalari. Oh, the double shot.
Collateral.
Well, again, unfortunate for the Raccoons. You know, always a tough way to end the season. But congratulations to the Berlin Brawlers clinching that 3rd seed in their division again. Especially considering they were 1-3 before this series today. Now clinched up to the number 3 seed, passing both of the Raccoons and the Villains. And I believe that locks up Division 1 after this win today.
Yeah, the Numbies division is official now. I think everyone's already played each other too. Oh, the Inazuma and the Gatos haven't played each other, but Gatos I believe are locked into that 2nd seed regardless. But yeah, congratulations to the Brawlers. I think a lot of people were saying that they were a good team, so it would have been really unfortunate to see them miss the playoffs after how well they've been playing this season. That being said, would you like to name a match MVP?
All right, I'm gonna first do, special shout outs because I do that always, and I always bore everyone's time. Again, Poke as always performing very, very well. Again, the Baptiste and the Ana were critical today. Nuttier as well. The Kiriko was very solid. The Suzus were game changing, had nice beats, and as always, just providing kind of that. I don't want to say silent because it's never really silent, but that silent carry on that main support again, just so good, one of the best in the league. But my pick today has to be EJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say EJ too.
EJ hit, I think, every single fire strike today. Showed why they're a solid leader of this team. Again, coming in off-rolling this season on top of that, performing so well. And again, I just want to give a little bit of love to them because they were just so dominant in this Brawl Mirror. They enabled their team perfectly, punished the Raccoons when necessary. And you know what? May have missed a few shatters, but shatters are crutches when you're a Reinhardt player.
Yeah, EJ's donating the shatters. The Raccoons were the charity who's donating them to.
Okay.
Okay, let me bring him in here.
Oh.
Hello,
EJ. Congratulations on being
we got
the match
playoffs.
MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got.
That's probably more important
in
than
3rd seed in the playoffs.
Let's go.
Going into this, I think everyone kind of knew the stakes. It's like this was, for the last week especially, I think this was probably the most important game. It's like winner makes the playoffs, loser goes on to face the Chinchillas in the bowl game. Going into this, like, how were you guys preparing to face the Raccoons here?
Well, we knew what they're gonna do. They play a lot of Queen. They also secondary comps dive. So we had a really good, like, we've played them in scrims like a few times this season, and we did pretty well in scrims. Like we've went even or we won the scrim. So we are like halfway through the season. We had kind of had a set idea how we want to deal with this team. So we just played our game plan and it worked. Like our team the most important thing that our team focuses on is communication and teamwork. That's the most important thing, because especially with Rhine comp, you need to in this meta, especially with it's not really Rhine friendly.
Yeah.
Everyone being on the same page really helps, and yeah.
Yeah, your team gives me a lot of season 2 Munich Vice vibes. Like forcing Reinhardt, even though it's like not Rhine meta, you're still forcing Reinhardt and like getting wins. So very fun to watch people like playing like traditionally non-meta stuff and just getting it to work. So love to see it. Also, speaking of your like your kind of like synergy between your team, like how does it feel like playing with people that you've played multiple times with before? Like, I think you have played with every player on your team season before this season, right?
Not Elko.
Elko's an exception.
Yeah, besides Elko.
Do you think you guys have an advantage having all that like previous knowledge with each other and kind of understanding everyone's playstyle?
Yeah, especially like we've played a lot like ranked. We played in past tournaments. We played in like in our high school league. We played in a team. That's how we really got started. But yeah, I very much like having people I know on my team, like that I have a lot of playtime with. I think that works really well, especially when I'm like off rolling. Like Poke usually in the past has played a lot of tank.
Yeah.
And he's helped me a ton. Like he's helped me a ton with like Winston.
Yep.
Like he helped me VOD a few times, and he's really helped me a lot.
Yeah, he's a very smart player. So I didn't even think about the fact that like you can just use him as a resource. And
yeah, and he stepped up the comms big time tonight. So I want to give a shout out to him for that.
Yeah, speaking of that, down to Elko, were you guys like, was that like scaring you guys knowing you're gonna be down like one of your top players? How do you think Fancy did in his stead too?
Dude, Fancy was incredible with the comms. Like he pretty much was just as good as Elko with the comms. Honestly, like I'm very happy he stepped up and helped us with that. But yeah.
Oh, I asked this to the Dongers the last match. Since it's not official yet, you guys can play the Foxes or play the Dongers. Is there a team that you're either more worried about, or is there a team you'd rather face? What's your opinion of those two teams?
I'm not worried about either of those teams.
Ooh,
I think,
you hear that, FlamboJambo?
I think our division is like every time we've played a team in that other division, we've like rolled them. I think.
Yeah, wait.
I'm not too worried about that. The teams in that division. I'm gonna be honest.
Let me check real quick. I think you guys beat the Zeniths too, so you guys might be undefeated in the other division. Let me.
That's true. They beat the Zeniths, Chinchillas pre-trade, and the Imposters.
Oh, I mean, the Zeniths is still a really big win, so can't discount that at all. Especially considering like if you guys beat the. What is it? If you play the Dongers and you win that game, I think then you would play the Zeniths in the semifinals.
Correct. If the Zeniths also win versus the Villains.
Oh, yeah. So it could be seeing a potential rematch of that game. Yeah, you guys are also undefeated out of the division, so yeah, that is really interesting. I think a lot of people have been using that like kind of as a talking point all season. Is just kind of like the fact that there's one division that's really good, but I also think like especially those top 3 teams in the Zenith division, the Zenith, the Dongers, and the Foxes, still are not to be trifled with. I think you still got to take them seriously.
I will say I do think that division like at the beginning of the season they weren't very good, but I feel like they've definitely stepped it up. So
yeah. The Foxes I think have played really well recently.
Yeah.
Chinchillas are playing better, even though they're still not getting those wins. I think they've looked a lot better the last couple of weeks. Flambo, do you have anything?
Well, I was gonna ask that question, but now we're past that.
Oopsies.
I'll ask the Muffin Classic.
Okay.
Or What's your favorite type of pizza, and why is it pineapple?
I think we asked this the last time I had the interview. It is not pineapple pizza, sadly.
I don't know. I've heard it's
why-
pineapple
like-
pizza.
Why is it pineapple? That's my question.
Yeah, why is it pineapple?
Why is your favorite
Uh,
pizza pineapple pizza?
Yeah,
It's
that's what
pineapple
everyone wants to
pizza.
know. That's what chat wants to know, JE. They need to know the answer.
It's pineapple pizza, but you hold the pineapples.
Do you like hold them in your
That's
hands?
my favorite pizza.
Oh.
Okay.
He's creative with it.
Do you want to ask El Clasico too? Since I've been stealing I've been stealing everyone's questions today. So
I guess I'll ask one more. Okay. I think many people could, and then I'll ask El Clasico after.
Yeah.
I think many people are saying. I think a little, apparently, again, your team is not one to be trifled with. Again, high in power rankings, high in predictions every week. I think your losses have been very, very close, and your wins have been dominant. But so I guess reflecting on the game today, right? Numbani seems like a struggle point for your team. Do you think that kind of dive matchup is ever, or especially on that attack, was a little tough for you guys? Do you think some of these more vertical maps are definitely a weakness for your team, or do you think that you guys will be ready going into any of these finals, no matter what any team throws at you?
Yeah, I think we did struggle on them, Bonnie, but I think we can definitely we can fix the mistake. We made some
Mhm.
pretty clear mistakes there, I
Mhm.
think. So I think we can just watch that VOD over and then fix it.
Of course,
Uh,
yeah. Check the books, check the plays.
Yeah, so I think it's fixable, but I mean teams are they're obviously gonna pick a map where Reinhardt isn't the best at. So we've been playing against that all season.
Mhm.
And even some of the maps where it's Ryan's just so hard, we just play dive, and our dive's just pretty good too. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was lots of stuff to work on, but I'm still pretty confident that we can.
As you
make it work.
should. As you should be. Well, with that said, we're going to take it to El Clasico. I know you're very familiar with this one. If you could not win match MVP today, who on your team would you give it to and why?
Can I do a tie? Because I really think two
Yeah.
players stepped up big.
Yeah,
time.
that's fine.
I think Poke definitely stepped up with the comms tonight, and I think Sonic Ronic. I really think Sonic Ronic is really good player, and I think he's a little underrated sometimes, but
Mhm.
I think on the right characters he can do well, and I think he did really well tonight, especially on our
who's on?
on our Flashpoint he did good, and then
Oh.
on Busan especially.
Yeah, the Sojourn was crazy. I think he
Yeah.
was the Sojourn today, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was. He
yeah.
was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He gets slept on a lot too. I think that's a really good shout too. Everyone's been talking about Poke is he's been playing super well this season, but Sonic Ronic doesn't get enough love. So I think we got to point out how well he did. He did really good today too.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that just about does it. Let me check the match times real quick. It is tomorrow, 9 p.m. We have the Inazuma versus the Los Gatos de Guadalajara. And I don't think a lot of stakes for either team there, but we'll still likely get it streamed. Then we have another really big one coming out on Sundays. That's another win in endgame, Turrets versus Imposters. So stay
That'll be a
with
good
us.
match.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But stay with us, everyone. We'll have those 2 games prodded the next couple days. My name is Paninii, signing off for myself and for FlamboJambo. Thank you and congratulations to EJ for clinching that last playoff spot. Very hype. But I think that just about does it. Everyone have a good night, and see you guys around.